technology. I look forward to the day when Periscope has a desktop version. It will make life a lot easier. So we are talking today about 3 top tips for improving your SEO on your website. These tips are not necessarily for a particular platform, but generally I recommend WordPress. So that's where we'd got to, pretty much, apart from saying hello to a lot of people asking for hearts and asking you to share. So let's get back to where we were. Okay, we were looking at a tool called Pingdom, and as I said, I'll share all the links to all the tools on Twitter after the show, so if you're not following me, follow me below, and I will share them afterwards. So Pingdom is a great little tool. I think it's better than the Google PageSpeed tool, because what it does is it shows you how many requests are being made to your site, so how many different files is it calling in to make your website appear, and then what it's loading and the order it's loading it in and how big those files are. And one of the big things I find, and I was talking about this yesterday, yes, you can share on FB, I will share them on FB too, I'll do that, but follow me on Twitter, Danny, goodness sake, no, I'm joking. So one of the things I was talking about yesterday with my SEO e-course students was that one of the big things that slow down homepages are graphics. Most people don't take the time to size their graphics properly, so they take these giant images and then they display them on their site a lot smaller, but the website still has to load that giant image. The other thing they don't do is they don't put them through smushy tools. They're called Smush It. There's one called Smush It. They're image tools that compress your files and make them have really low file size, and that means they're going to load a lot quicker. The other couple of things that generally slow sites down are a lot of CSS and JavaScript files. So while WordPress is great, and I do love the plugins, you don't want to have too many. You know, you don't want to have too many whizzy, sexy things on your site that's going to slow your site down. And it's always a compromise between a good-looking site and a site that loads well and quickly. Google's favourite site in the universe is probably Wikipedia, because all it is text and a few images. There's nothing clever going on there at all. So, you know, that loads crazy fast, and that would get a great score on any of these tests. But, you know, we don't want to have a site that looks like Wikipedia. That's not what we're trying to achieve. But anything you can do to improve the speed of your website will improve your SEO. I've seen people knock half a second off the load speed and climb up the rankings pretty quick. And it makes sense. It's not just about Google, it's about humans. If sites are taking a long time to load, people are going to click away. And if people are clicking away, then they're not buying your stuff. So speed. The first thing you can do to really try and improve your site is improve the speed. There's a great plugin on WordPress called WP Cache, which will cache some of the things on your site and on people's their desktops or their whatever, and it means it doesn't load everything every single time. So WP Cache is a great plugin. I will share all these afterwards on Twitter and Facebook, so that can speed you up, and there's a few other speed tools out there that you know can really help. But one of the first things you can do today if you want to improve your SEO is put your site through Pingdom, check how big your image files are, and even if you can knock 100, 200 kilobytes off those images, you've made a good start. So the next most important thing from a tech point of view is whether or not your site is responsive. Now, Google announced earlier this year, in about April, I think it was, that mobile sites and responsive sites and how responsive a site is actually now definitely part of the algorithm. And Google doesn't tell us about the algorithm that much. A lot of the things we work out as SEO experts is by guesswork. So when they tell us something, we really have to take note. So there is another test that you can do on Google, which is a mobile test, which again, I'll put the link on Twitter, so make sure you follow me, that will tell you how responsive your site is. And the truth is, if your site is not responsive, you know, you can tinker with it. I did that. I spent a fair amount of money trying to take my unresponsive theme, tinker with it and make it responsive. It didn't really ever work. You know, you've got to, when you're doing responsive websites, you have to think mobile first. You have to start with mobile and then build the desktop. Thank you for the hearts. I love the hearts. The hearts make me know that you're interested in what I'm saying, because otherwise I feel like I'm just speaking into the void. So if you want to give me some hearts, that would make my day. Thank you, orange person who is giving me hearts. It's very nice of you. Oh, my battery's running out on my phone. Let's hope we've got enough battery to finish off. My goodness. So Yes, so I will put up a responsive test that you can do on your site to find out. There are lots of great responsive WordPress themes out there. And Elegant Themes is one of my favourite places to buy themes, and I've already mentioned in previous podcasts that my favourite theme for WordPress is called Divi, D-I-V-I. You can read about my recent site redesign using Divi on my website, TOONCOPE.com. All my sites are made with Divi and all my sites are responsive. You do have to think about how many people are looking at your site on a tablet or a mobile device, and if it's anything more than about 5%, you want to make sure that your site looks pretty good. It's not just about people being able to use the site, it's about the site looking good and being an enjoyable experience. It's not that, they're not having to constantly do that on their iPhone to try and see your content. So, most important thing, speed. Second most important thing, responsiveness. The third thing is crawlability. So making sure that Google is actually getting to all the parts of your site that you want them to, that it's seeing all your blog posts and your pages and your images and crawling them as you want them to. Now, you can, for free, go and sign up now today at Google Webmasters and link it to your website. And there are heaps of tools that are free on Google Webmasters that will crawl your site, that will check your sitemap and make sure that you have one and make sure that it's correctly formatted, that will check your robots.txt file, which is a little file that talks to bots that crawl the internet. It will check that for you. You can run crawl tests. It will alert you if there's any problems. It'll find broken links. It'll do everything that you need it to do. So that's fantastic. Again, if you're using WordPress, there's a great little plugin called Broken Link Checker, which will help you find broken links on your site, because broken links aren't good. You're sending Google down a sort of dead end and it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't have anywhere to go. So you need to kind of fix all those broken links. And you do that by redirecting the broken page to a page that's working. So crawlability is really important, and a lot of you might have received an email from Google in the last few days telling you that it couldn't access your CSS or JavaScript files. It was having trouble getting to certain parts of your site. I put a post up about that yesterday on Facebook and on Google+. I'll post it again today, that it just explains what you need to do to fix that. But don't freak out, it's not a huge biggie, it's not something to panic about. So that's it, people. If you have any questions, does anybody have any SEO questions? Because I'm just chilling here today, I got some time. So if you've got an SEO question, just type it in and I'll do my very best to answer it. We've talked today about speed, responsiveness and crawlability, and as I said, I'll be sharing all those links on Twitter and Facebook. This has been my first week on Periscope. Oh, do you talk about AdWords? Do you mean on the SEO course, Kylie? There's a little bit of chat about AdWords, yeah, but it's an SEO course, not an SEM course or a PPC course. Google AdWords and SEO, two completely different disciplines, and the two do not affect each other. So you can pay all the money you want for Google Ads and it will not impact your results in the natural search. They're two separate things. So you would probably need a whole nother course to cover off Google AdWords, but we do touch on it, and Melinda Sampson, who is my Google AdWords expert, and we have an interview with her and she gives us some tips and top tips. So I really recommend Google AdWords. Set up a low value campaign, maybe $200 a month. Look at the results you get from that, which keywords are working for you, which keywords aren't working for you, and take that information into your SEO. So you know that this is a really great phrase for you and that it's converting. Great, you can then go and write a piece of content about that keyword and optimize for that keyword. So they have nothing to do with each other, they don't influence each other, but they can help you. And obviously, if you're spending money on Google AdWords, the dream would be that your ad is at the top, and then your site is at the top of the natural linkings, and then you've got double whammy. But while I do like Google AdWords, the thing with Google AdWords is when you stop paying your dollar, you stop getting your clicks. Whereas with SEO, yes, it's longer and harder to achieve those rankings, but they last forever. They don't go away, when you stop paying for anything. I've been sort of SEOing for about 4 or 5 years, and now really I don't blog much at all. I don't build links, I don't do guest blogs or anything like that, and I maintain my ranking. Great question here. What's the one tip you'd give a new web person to improve their search engine results? Well, I think the one that I've just gone, I would say the one that I've just said. I would link my site up to Google Webmasters, and I would just check that everything is in order, that your site is 100% crawlable, because if it's not, that will be having a big impact on your SERP. So that would be my #1 admin tip. Now my #1 SEO tip, the thing that I've seen makes the biggest difference. Obviously writing great content, yeah, that's a given, but the one sort of technical thing that makes the big difference is making sure your title tags are well written. So your title tags are what appear at the top of every page, and they are what is the underlined blue link in the search results, so what people click in the search results. Writing good title tags that are keyword optimized, that have your keyword at the beginning, that are under around 55 characters, that are enticing and engaging and that make me want to click them. I've seen some really big results with people taking the time to update all of those. So that would be my tip. I hope that helped. Anybody else have any questions today? If not, I'm just going to have a quick sip of my coffee. That's okay. Thank you for asking, Ninja. Ninja Drop Bear. That's one of the best Twitter aliases I've ever seen. I wish I'd thought of that one. That's fantastic. So next week my Periscopes will be changing a little bit. I'm going to have a regular slot on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10 o'clock Sydney time, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I'll be here every Tuesday and Wednesday. I'll also be asking for questions before the Periscope so that I can make them a bit more interactive and make sure that I'm telling you what you want to know. And I'm also going to be uploading these scopes to YouTube. So if you missed them and you missed the replay, because the replay only hangs around for about 24 hours on Periscope, you'll be able to catch up on YouTube. So check out YouTube. Are you on an iPhone or Android? I am on an iPhone. I'm a Mac girl. Once you go Mac, you never go back, I'm afraid. So yes, I'm on an iPhone. On a really silly, I've got like a jar with a microphone balanced on it, and my iPhone is like blue tacked to the microphone, but I've just ordered a tripod, so I'm getting serious about my Periscopes now, people. They're going to be a lot better, I hope, moving forward. Okay, so that's me done. I've got to go. I'm doing a webinar rehearsal with the guys from Flying Solo. I'm going to be chatting with them about winning on social media, how to make your social media really go, which is a good thing. And that's a free webinar, by the way. You'll find details about that on my Facebook page and on Twitter. So if you want to come along and listen to that as well, if you're not sick of the sound of my voice, come along and listen to that webinar as well. That's free, and it's with Flying Solo. I can't remember the date. I'm sorry. It's not far away, a couple of weeks, maybe August the 8th or something like that, but again, I'll put it up on my Facebook. So all the tools I've mentioned today, I will be tweeting later on today, and I will be putting them up on Facebook and Google+. So look for TOONSCOPE, and if you enjoyed the show, give me some hearts, follow me with the little dude here, and I hope to see you next week on Tuesday and Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Sydney time. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. I can't wait to just lie around and do nothing and not do any more Periscopes.